so pleased to have Sarah Beach here to talk about Strong, the magazine for girls. All right, right off, you have a British accent.
I do.
Yes, you've been in the state of Connecticut for a while now. You decided to put together a magazine for middle school aged girls.
That's right, Anya.
Why?
Well, I have a middle school age daughter myself. I actually have 3 children, a boy and 2 girls, and I just saw that there was a gap, basically. I saw my daughters growing up, I saw some of the magazines that were available for them to read, and they didn't seem to represent not only my daughters, but all the other middle school age girls that I know.
So in this magazine, this is your very first magazine, and you're working on issue number 2.
Yes, issue number 2 is nearly ready at the moment.
And you're talking about life skills, you're talking about tech, you're talking about cooking, you're talking about camping, all the things that young girls should be doing. And this I thought was very interesting, that you have quotes to live by.
Yeah, inspirational quotes as well.
When you went to put this magazine together, which has no advertisements in it.
That's correct.
What did you want it to look like? Did it come out how you thought it would?
Do you know, I don't think when I initially started that I really knew how I wanted it to look. I just knew I wanted to do something, and I had to start. So I started right from scratch. I even had to go online and research, you know, which pieces of software to use, and I just started writing. And I started finding topics that I thought were interesting and that I thought the girls should know about. And that was how it began, just literally with lots of articles, which I started to bring together. And then it evolved.
How hard was this? You went to Kickstarter to get some startup money.
I did, yeah.
And that's a scary thing to do.
Yes, it's quite frightening to put yourself out there, yeah. And in fact, the first time I put myself out there, we didn't quite hit our goal. And although I raised $11,500 on Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. So because we didn't quite hit our goal, we didn't get any funding. So then I had to put myself out there again, which was very scary.
But you did it.
But I did it,
and
yeah.
now here comes issue 2.
Issue 2, yeah.
What do you think is lacking in education today that young girls are not getting? Is that by and large why you're doing this, or just to bring about self-esteem for young women?
Well, more the latter, I think. I think that Strong to me represents girls having the confidence to be themselves, and I just think that young girls growing up today, they don't see that, because when they're right at the time in their lives when they're trying to work out who they really are, they just see, you know, the image they have of how a woman should be, of who they should be, is, you know, we should be interested in fashion, we should be interested in celebrities, you know, we should care about, you know, body image, and, you know, these things are all important to kids, but they're so much more than that. So it was more that I wanted them to have, to be able to see other girls like them and see that it was okay to be like them, and then to see women who are doing inspirational things and working in fields that perhaps are not stereotypically female, so that they could see that it's okay to do those things too. Is there any other magazine out there like this that you drew inspiration from? There's nothing quite like this for this age group. There's a magazine aimed at younger children, which has been set up relatively recently, called Kazoo, that I read. I went to the bookstore, I looked at loads of magazines. So you did a lot of homework before you started? I did some research, yeah, I absolutely did some research. And that, they had actually started up through a Kickstarter, although they had a lot more, the lady in charge had a lot more experience in this kind of thing than I do. But she started from a Kickstarter, and she was trying to do exactly the same thing for younger kids, to empower them, to inspire them, to make them see that there's a lot more to being female than, you know, princesses and this and that. And makeup and exactly. All of that. Yeah, all of which, again, I'm not saying that these things aren't things that girls care about. It's just that there's so much more to them than that. So yeah, that's one of the places I got some of my inspiration from. Were you surprised that there wasn't anything? Yes, I think, yeah, to be honest. It seems like a massive gap. I think that a lot of the magazines that are available for girls of this age, some of them, there are some great independent magazines out there that are focusing on STEM, you know, that are focusing on individual things, but there's no magazine that seeks to be like some of the other magazines that are for all the girls, but yet lets them see that there's more to them, basically. This is now a local magazine, although you're getting it out there, you've sent it to libraries, and it's being shipped to different countries, you're finding out. Yeah. What is the end game, that this becomes, that Strong becomes a national magazine? I would love for Strong to become a national magazine. It's a tough business to get into, and I'm not here to, you know, with the aim of growing something massive. You know, I'm not having any adverts and things like that. I really want girls across the country, and even further maybe, to have this magazine, to have somewhere where they can read about role models and other girls like them.
Growing up in the UK, was there a magazine like this?
Ooh, not that I can think of, no.
So you've hit on something.
Well, I think it's a little bit different. There were magazines that I used to read in the UK, but I don't remember them being like this. I remember them being more kind of photo stories and, you know, more the kind of thing that we all enjoy reading, but it doesn't have quite so much to it as this, perhaps. Do
you have your middle school-aged daughter decide and help you what goes into this magazine? And have you used that age group as a focus group?
Yes.
And what have they told you?
So when I first produced this first issue of Strong, I did actually get together a lot of girls from our community and their parents, and had them, they all came around to our house actually, and they all read it, and then they all told me what they thought, and it was quite daunting. And they liked it. They said it was great. They said there's nothing like that out there. They like the fun stuff. You have to, I've got quizzes and things in there for the girls, and in the latest issue I've also got a Spot the Difference. There's got to be stuff in there to keep it light and entertaining. And they liked it. I think it doesn't patronise them. You know, they're intelligent young women, and they need to know about the world. They need to know that it's bigger than the town that they live in, and they need to be self-sufficient, and they need to be independent, and they need to have something or someone setting that example for them.
What does your daughter like most in this magazine?
Well, I think a lot of the girls really love the inspirational quotes page in the middle of that one.
How are you laying this out? Do you have a publishing background at all?
No, I don't. I literally laid it out myself to begin with, and then actually all along the way loads of people have helped me out. And there was a particular chap who works in graphic design who very generously looked at it for me and said, you know, if you just did something a bit more like this and a bit more like this, it could look kind of cleaner. And so I took some of his advice and then put that into the magazine, and so people have helped. A lot of people love the project, love the idea, and they've offered their assistance.
What I thought was interesting is how to fix a puncture. So if you have a bike tire that needs to be patched, you're teaching young women how to do that. You're talking about give back. You're talking about responsibility. Tech women, as we pointed out, places that aren't in Connecticut, Cape Town, South Africa.
Yeah, and this issue that's coming out now, we actually talked to a girl who lives in Bremen in Germany, and that's really great because not only does it show our readers that, you know, there are girls like them growing up in other parts of the world, but then we can also take time to actually talk about, you know, what's happened in South Africa, what was apartheid, you know, what's gone on in Germany in the past, so and also about Angela Merkel, so we can kind of spin off those a little bit too.
Have you shown this to your daughter's school?
Yes, they are.
And what do the administrators, what do the teachers say about this?
I've had very positive feedback. Everybody that's seen it, I've got really positive feedback from them.
Because it seems to me it could be a great teaching tool and should be in all libraries, right?
Well, that would be fantastic.
Well, that's where we're trying to get it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The biggest pratfalls when you started, what was the hardest thing to get this issue out, other than money?
I think it's just, well, for me, starting from scratch and not having any experience, every time I kind of went down a path, I'd find that there were all kinds of tangents I needed to go down. I needed to find out about marketing, I needed to find out about graphic design. For me, it was just an enormous task, and it was just pulling all the strands together. And that was it. It was just literally trying to pull all the strands together that was hardest.
Did you ever think about quitting because it was too hard?
No.
Good for you.
No, yeah.
It was just going to happen.
Yeah, I believe in it. I think it's a really important magazine to have out there. So.
And why did you name it Strong? Period. It says Strong, period.
Because to me, that word encompasses what I want, how I want girls to feel. And it doesn't mean physically strong. Like I said earlier, it means the strength and the confidence to be themselves. And it's a kind of confidence word.
Now, once you get it to be a national magazine, which we hope happens, could there be events around Strong? I mean, it could be anything you want it to be.
Yeah, well, that would be fantastic. I think it would be great to grow it like that and to have a kind of movement, you know, strong. We already refer to some of our readers as strong girls. And we have a new logo, actually, that's going to be on the new issue that's coming out this fall. So that would be amazing. At the moment, this is a one-woman band. This is me, sat at home, you know, with my computer, reaching out to some great people. It's lots of people offering their time and energy, but they're all volunteering. So at the moment, it's hard to think about that. Right now, it's a lot to do to get the magazine out, so I think it's baby steps, but I would love for this to be something bigger for our girls.
Sarah Beach, thank you so much for coming on. and introducing us to Strong, the magazine for girls. And we hope this is a national magazine sooner than later.
No, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Spend all night kissing and the bumper's right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing I could find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Things keep locked in the grocery store of my mind. Just to save time, I'll skip right ahead to the last ride.